Today on Community Cooking, we have guest chef and registered dietitian Jessica Beaudoin here to show us how to make another great meal. On the menu today is a lemon coriander salmon for the main course. Then for dessert, glazed peaches with yogurt, blueberries, and basil. You won't want to miss this. We're cooking with some of the best chefs from right here in our own community. So grab a seat, get comfortable. We have another great show for you. This is your Community Cooking. Hello and welcome to Community Cooking. I'm your host, Jeff Kawakami. Today I'm here with my good friend and chef, Jessica Beaudoin. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me, Jeff.
Thank you for coming. Now, you're a registered dietitian.
That's right.
Yeah, and so you work with people who have cancer or chronic diseases, and you help show them how to eat healthy.
Absolutely. One of my favorite things to do with patients is the nutrition education end of things, where we talk about healthy cooking techniques and healthy foods to include in their diets.
Excellent. So today we're doing a salmon in a foil packet, which I like because that's easy cleanup.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
then for dessert, we're going to be doing glazed peaches.
That's right. And so for today's salmon packets, we're going to be using some fresh salmon. We'll also be including some fresh summer vegetables for this particular packet. We've got yellow squash and zucchini, as well as fresh corn, cherry tomatoes, oregano, and then for our seasoning on top, we're going to use some coriander seeds, mustard seeds, and some lemon. We're also going to throw in some garlic into those packets as well.
I love it. And we're lucky in California because we can get like summer vegetables at the farmer's market almost year round.
Year round. I love the seasonal produce. One of the main things that brought me to California was the abundance of fresh produce.
Excellent. All right, so now this kind of reminds me of something I did in culinary school called un papiette, which means cooked in paper.
Exactly.
But not a lot of people have parchment paper. Everyone has foil.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is a really easy thing to make at home for your average cook. Most people have foil at home, and you can do this not only, we're going to do it today in the oven, but you can also prepare this recipe outdoors on a grill, or you could even do it in a campfire if you're going camping with a family.
And you can't do that with paper.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah,
More versatile.
Yeah, I love that. Actually, I didn't even think about that. You can totally take this, have your packets already done, put it on the grill, so you can make this ahead of time.
Voila.
Yeah, bring it somewhere.
Exactly.
Clever.
So let's go ahead and get our ingredients ready. I'll have you slice up some of that squash, one each of those, and I'll go ahead and start preparing the salmon. Now, when I bought this the other day, it came with the skin on, and so I thought, oh, I didn't want it with the skin on, but I actually love that it did, because one of my favorite things to do with the skin is just carefully remove it, and then you go ahead and saute it in some olive oil.
Ooh.
So a good trick for getting this skin off is to just go ahead and make a nice little incision right underneath the skin, and then grab it and slowly use your knife to kind of jimmy it off of the salmon fillet. So you just kind of get the point in there, and that give it some tension, and slowly work your way off. It's a little slimy, but it's worth it in the end. The skin actually has a lot of the minerals and good amount of nutrition in it, so you don't want to waste this and throw it out. So really nice.
A lot of people also like the crispy skin.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's something that, you know, it adds that little crunchy texture, and sometimes people don't think about that. When you're thinking of making a meal, you want different elements, so you want a little bit of a crunch.
Absolutely. And for the foil packets, because the salmon will basically be steaming inside of the packets along with the vegetables, the skin gets a little bit gummy, and so you don't necessarily want to cook this recipe with the skin on. But like I said, just jimmying this off.
And once you got a hold, you're... Yeah, that looks really good.
It just comes off on its own. And then what we'll be doing is I'm just going to throw this in this hot pan right next to us, a little bit of olive oil, and sear it up nicely for us.
Beautiful. Also,
nice crunchy snack while you're preparing the rest of the meal.
Also, most grocery stores or markets, they will take the skin off for you if you ask them. Even in the packaged salmon, you can take it. If you don't want to do this yourself, you can totally take it to the counter and say, can you please take the skin off? And they do it for free. And they still charge you because you're paying for the skin, so you might as well keep it. But you know, it's a free service. They offer it for you.
You know, you can do it either way.
Now, show me how you do the foil packet.
So to make the foil packets, actually, we need to slice up these cherry tomatoes in half, if you wouldn't mind.
I'm good at slicing.
Thank you. And then we'll also need a couple of thin slices of the lemon.
Perfect.
But basically, what we'll be doing is I'll take some of the zucchini and squash off your hands.
course.
For 1 packet. And since I have raw fish on my hands, that's all right for this particular case because
it's all going in the oven.
It's all going to cook together in the oven. Just make a nice little bed of the zucchini and the squash. And then I'm going to sprinkle on some of this corn.
Beautiful.
Just all around. Summer corn, you can get this fresh from the cob. Or in the winter time, if you, in a pinch, you can always use the frozen corn. Frozen vegetables have many of the same nutritional properties as fresh vegetables. They're often, in fact, picked ripe, frozen right on the farm, and then sent to the grocery stores. So they're a great alternative in the winter.
I heard that yeah, frozen vegetables are just as good as fresh because they're frozen right at the peak of freshness.
That's it. That's it. Sometimes even has a little bit more nutritional value than underripe produce that you find at the grocery store.
So, but if you're using a frozen vegetable, do you have to worry about extra moisture?
Yes. So, for example, with corn, there will be a little bit of moisture from the freezing process, but it's just like using a cooked corn at the end of the day. They're very similar in properties. So basically what we'll be doing is laying the salmon on top. I'm going to wipe down my hands. Actually, since you have clean hands, would you mind sprinkling on a little bit of salt?
Absolutely.
And some pepper. That would be excellent.
It's a very smart thing to think of.
Yes.
Once your hands are dirty, yeah.
Gotta wash them.
the clean hands for the salting.
That's right.
A little salt.
The skin's getting nice.
Pepper.
That little hole.
Yeah, I'm a big avid user of tongs. I like once I've touched some meat, I try not to touch anything else again. I'll wash my hands, and then everything is tongs.
Yep. Food safety is very important. A lot of people forget about cross-contamination. The fact that when you cook with raw foods, you want to make sure anything that's going to be prepared and consumed fresh should never touch anything that was prepared as raw before it was cooked. So. All
right. So I am just copying you.
Oops. Throw that over to the side.
Since you have the salmon hands, would you put the salmon in my packet?
Of course. There we go.
Thank you very much.
Voila.
And I'll do a little salt.
Perfect.
Pepper. All right, now
and the last thing is some lemon slices.
Oh, yes.
If you wouldn't mind slicing that up, I'll get our oregano ready. We're just going to put a couple of sprigs of oregano on top of each of these and a couple of thin slices of lemon.
And we were saying before how much I much prefer fresh oregano. A lot of people think that oregano is kind of harsher. They don't like the flavor of oregano.
Yeah.
But I think that you just have the dried, and sometimes dried oregano is just too strong, or like it's been in the jar too long and it loses its flavor.
It does, it does. So fresh oregano is just, it's hard to replace with dried oregano. If you don't have oregano or you can't find it at your local store, you could also do this recipe with dill. You could use parsley. You could use a variety of herbs.
Dill and fish.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, oh, so I didn't get I got to do the garlic too?
Ah, yes.
A little fresh garlic?
A little fresh garlic. I added this. It wasn't in my original recipe, but I thought it needed just a little bit more aromatics.
I change things all the time.
Yeah.
I'm constantly changing my recipes.
And that's the thing about the foil packets. Like I said, you can switch out any of the vegetables. You could do different types of fish if you want to do orange roughy or halibut. Salmon is very high in omega-3 fatty acids, which are essential fats that most Americans don't get enough of. So this is a great way to increase your omega-3 fat intake. Great for brain health, good for your eyes, and it's a really important nutrient for children as well.
And this actually looks pretty already, the way it is.
Exactly. It'll look gorgeous once it's steamed as well.
Yeah, so show me, how do you wrap it?
So we're going to do this just like you would en papillotes.
Okay.
Just go ahead and fold it over in half, kind of switch the vegetables over towards one side.
Okay.
And then you're going to fold it up almost exactly like an empanada, rolling from one side, sealing the edge nicely with a single roll. Make sure that you've got both ends of the foil as you're rolling it up, leaving enough space for it to steam. And then towards the end, you want to make sure that you've sealed that last one.
And you're not going to cut any slits in here, because you want to save all that steam,
exactly. Right? The steam will cook all of it together, so we can fit both of these onto the tray.
Beautiful.
And then we've got the oven preheated to 450 degrees. These will cook in about 10 to 12 minutes on the grill or on a campfire. In the oven, about 12 to 15.
Okay, wonderful. That's still quick.
Yeah, it is. And very little mess. If you're going to be eating outside or having a barbecue, you know, paper plates just as a way to hold it, and then you've got the salmon packets to eat straight from it.
As a professional chef, I wash a lot of dishes, like a lot of dishes. So anything that saves me some time, I'm all about it.
Exactly.
All right, now you're getting the skin nice and crispy.
Oh, yeah.
And so after the skin crisps up, we need to toast the coriander, right?
Exactly. We'll be
And then
making the
mustard seed?
topping. So we're going to make I'm just going to throw this over here onto the cutting board to kind of, want to season that with a little salt.
Absolutely.
That'd be yum. And then I'll wipe out this pan. And we'll be making the topping, which is a very simple dry spice blend. So we'll basically be using the coriander, a little bit of the mustard seed, and toasting that in a dry pan. So I'm going to turn this up to about medium-high heat, let that get a little warm. Then we'll be toasting up the coriander seed and the mustard seed. And you can see I have these whole. If you don't have whole spices, in a pinch you could use the ground ones and either season before you put it in the oven or just after. We're going to be seasoning just after since this has some fresh lemon zest.
All right, great. All right, well, we have our fish in the oven, and when we get back, we're going to work on some glazed peaches for dessert. I'm so excited. Do not go anywhere. You're watching Community Cooking. Welcome back to Community Cooking. If you're just joining us, we have my friend and chef, Jessica Beaudoin here, and you're a registered dietitian. So all the recipes we're doing here are very healthy, but also delicious. Now, right before the break, we made this wonderful salmon with vegetables with a lemon coriander sauce that's probably going to be done. So let's check on that. All right. Let me grab this right here. I can hear it sizzling. I'm just going to put this right on top of a hot mitt. And
should we take a look? See how they turned out? Yeah.
And I've been in the industry for a while, so I don't have any feeling in my fingers.
So you can just open that right away. Beautiful.
You see that?
All right.
Yeah, it's really pretty.
We should let those rest for just a little bit because some of that steam will continue to carry over cook.
Absolutely, yeah. We'll just get that back here. Pot. Yeah.
Perfect.
You don't want to burn the counter. I've burnt many a counter.
Absolutely. Important to have your hot plate.
Yeah, and also I like to do the trick where I put the pad on top so people know.
Good call.
Because I don't know how many times, because we both went to culinary school.
Yes.
That you grab the handle of the pot because you forgot it was in the oven.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very bad mistake.
Learn from our mistakes. That's why we're here.
Exactly.
All right, so now we're going to be making glazed peaches with blueberries, yogurt, and basil, which I love.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is going to be a nice, refreshing, fairly healthy dessert. And we're going to be using some fresh summer peaches. We're going to glaze them just a little bit. When you get into the peak of summer, you can use the fresh peaches and skip the glaze part and maybe just throw them on the grill a little bit. But today we're going to be using a little bit of a glaze to kind of caramelize some deliciousness on top of the peaches and add some sweetness to this dessert.
Well, you bring out the natural sugars when you caramelize things. I do that with pineapple. When it's not quite ripe, you take a fruit, you throw it on the grill, and everyone's like, this is amazing. You're like, yeah, it's amazing.
Yes, it was an underripe pineapple, and now it's amazing.
Exactly. All right.
So for our ingredients, we've got some yellow peaches. You could also use white peaches, whatever's available in the market. Fresh basil, blueberries, Greek yogurt, which I'm using Greek yogurt rather than regular yogurt. It's got a better texture for this dish. We'll be glazing these peaches with a little bit of brown sugar and honey mixed together and topping it all off with some sliced almonds to give it some extra essential fatty acids.
Wonderful. And it also adds that element of crunch, too.
Exactly.
Yeah, that I was mentioning before. Yeah.
Always important to think about different textures when you're building a nice dessert, and oftentimes we're overlooking the crunchy part. So adding a little bit of nuts just adds that extra level of interest for your mouth.
Yeah, wonderful. And I don't eat a lot of dairy or like ice cream, so Greek yogurt is wonderful because it has the natural probiotics.
Absolutely.
So it's easy to digest.
And many people who are moderately lactose intolerant actually can handle a little bit of yogurt because the bacteria that are good for our gut break down some of the lactose and make it easier for our digestive system.
Yogurt's a good thing.
It is.
So now, I was just saying that I was reading a magazine recently. They're talking about different ways to cut peaches and easier ways to get the seeds out. Now, I haven't tried this yet.
All right.
So we'll see if it actually works.
We're going to demo a new technique.
Yeah, so instead of cutting it this way, which normally people do, along the seam of the peach, we're going to cut it like the equator of the peach.
Oh, okay. I'm going to try that out as well.
And so, apparently if you do that, you're able to twist and it comes right out.
Oh my goodness. I think I need to finish cutting around the skin. That is amazing.
Oh.
And my peach is extra juicy.
That's good.
This is a case where it didn't work, but
Let me see.
yeah.
I know.
I think one half is
this was a really-
salvageable.
That's a very ripe
It was
peach.
a very ripe peach. And
Yeah.
like I said, when you have the really ripe ones, you almost don't need to do this step of
Yeah.
caramelizing them in the pan. But
Well,
I'm
like
going to
you
get this
said.
pan heated while we're getting the peaches prepared. You want it at about a medium-high heat.
And now,
And
you know,
then-
also, we could probably still cook that. Sometimes, you know, you can cover things. You put a little extra basil on top and a little, a little more almonds.
Exactly. The
No one
flavors
needs to
are
know.
there.
Yeah.
So to make the glaze, basically what I'll be doing is just adding a little bit of honey to brown sugar, and that will thicken up the brown sugar and make it easier to spread. So I'm just going to mix that up a little bit, get that going. I'm going to smash up some of the chunks that you get in brown sugar.
Yeah.
And
I
there we
love
go.
brown sugar.
yeah.
But what a lot of people
Rich.
don't know is brown sugar is what sugar is before they take out the molasses.
Exactly, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so it actually has a lot of, aren't there nutrients in molasses too?
Yes,
Yeah.
there's trace amounts of minerals and some antioxidants in molasses. You get a little bit of, especially with blackstrap molasses, which that's not what we're using today,
Yeah.
but that's got a very high mineral content. A great way to add a little bit more nutrition to your oatmeal is to use some blackstrap molasses.
Yeah, and it has a little bit of flavor that people like when you're, because that's why they say white sugar's so bad. It's
Yeah.
refined. They've taken all those elements, those nutrients that you really want.
And absolutely, at the end of the day though, all sugars, including brown sugar and honey, are considered added sugars, so we should be consuming them in moderation.
Of course.
You don't want to overdo it. So to prepare the peaches, I'll take these two that worked out really well from your cutting board, and I'm going to be placing them face up for a
Okay.
moment just to kind of warm up the base of it. Because we'll be flipping these just a couple of times to get the glaze. And then in order to, I'm going to borrow this other spoon, just going to scoop off some of the brown sugar honey mixture onto the top of the peaches while the bottoms are toasting up. And it doesn't
Okay.
seem like it's doing much, but it is heating up the peaches from the bottom.
No,
So-
that makes sense to warm it up a little bit to break down the sugar mixture.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So.
And I'm just going to get some basil together to do a nice little chiffonade.
Yes, I love chiffonade basil. It's such a nice, fancy touch to meals. It's an easy cut to do that most home cooks don't really know about, but is a really a nice way to class it up.
Yeah, and so I'm just layering the leaves of basil. Just pick them up very easy like this, and then roll it up,
Roll it up like a cigar.
and then watch your fingers.
Ah, that's beautiful.
And
These
also, like I've said before, you don't need to chop the ends. Save your fingers.
yes,
You know, there's plenty of basil. You don't need to chop everything.
absolutely.
But yeah, then once you're done, you have nice little ribbons, and that's what you want.
Exactly, a beautiful garnish.
Right, and also it's interesting to have basil in a dessert. Some people don't think about putting basil and in sweet applications. They think
Yeah.
of it only as savory, but it's really versatile.
It's almost got like a licorice flavor profile.
Absolutely,
So yeah, it is something I think we don't use enough in desserts. I love having a little bit of herbaceousness or even floral qualities to desserts.
Yeah. Well,
So.
also in lemonades, you know, and like nowadays like craft cocktails are so popular, and using basil and like rosemary and stuff in something that's gonna be a little sweet, but it's just, you know, a little herbaceous quality.
Exactly, exactly. So what you're looking for when you're cooking the peaches is just a little bit of bubbling from the honey and the brown sugar. And I'll just give them a flip to kind of let some of this glaze touch the other side. It almost looks like we got a peach pit in there. That
that's
is
awesome.
the glaze. Just gonna let that kind of warm up again on the other side. And if you have a little bit of extra brown sugar and honey, you could do another round of glaze if you want.
Oh,
Just
why
a
not?
little bit more.
Yeah.
We're only using a tablespoon of each, so that's about 3 teaspoons of added sugars for this particular dessert.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're getting the natural sugars from fruit, which don't need to be limited. They're really healthy because they come with a lot of antioxidants. I'm getting a little bit of extra
Antioxidants.
antioxidants from the blueberries as well.
Absolutely. So how would you, show me how you're gonna, while this is caramelizing.
Yes.
Are we just putting the yogurt as our base?
Actually, the yogurt will fill the pit.
Oh, okay.
Kind of as we can almost, what's the name of that? where you take 2 spoons and quenelle.
Oh yes.
A quenelle.
Yes.
You can make a little quenelle of yogurt
Okay.
if it'll cooperate with us, which is actually like a football shape with 2 spoons.
Yeah. Did we have another spoon? I could do
You
that.
could use this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, yeah, we'll be topping it off with a little bit of blueberries and almonds. Almonds, I'm using raw sliced almonds. The benefit of raw almonds is you get the natural raw oils, which are even better for you than toasted almonds. So.
Okay,
yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Another thing that I often do is just have some raw almonds in my purse as a grab-and-go snack, something to satiate the hunger when you're on the road. Yeah. Raw almonds, like I said, very healthy for you.
See, my guilty pleasure is chocolate-covered almonds,
Ooh.
but I tell myself it's healthy because I'm like, well, there's an almond in there. The chocolate doesn't really count, right?
At the end of the day, balance, moderation, and variety are the keys to a healthy, balanced diet, and it's important to have a little bit of indulgence in there. Yeah.
Well, you know, that's a little bag.
Exactly. So you want to be careful when handling these peaches. They are, of course, coming out of the saute pan, but that sugar caramelizes to a very high temperature, so you don't want to touch that. It's tempting to use it as a guide.
No, liquid sugar is no joke. Have you burnt yourself with liquid sugar before? Yes. You do it once. You don't do it again.
Exactly.
All right.
So next we'll take the yogurt. Got a little scoop of that right on top.
Right
and
where
then
the pit would be, you said?
Exactly. Just to kind of, again, add a little bit of creaminess. It's like a healthier version of peaches and cream. Yeah. We'll sprinkle some of the blueberries on top.
Well, I think the yogurt, the tartness goes well with the sugar. And
it does.
You need a balance.
Absolutely.
Everything can't just be sweet.
Yeah, this is unflavored, unsweetened Greek yogurt. So you're getting the sugar and the sweetness from the glaze on the peaches. You don't need to have sweetened or vanilla yogurt to make this a good dessert. The tanginess, like you said, is a really great balance to that, to the sugar.
Yeah, and also it's high in protein.
Exactly, exactly. So we're getting multiple food groups again, and even in our dessert, got some nuts, fruit, and a little bit of dairy.
Very smart, almost like you went to school for this.
You know.
All right, so we're gonna top with a little chiffonade.
Yes, your beautiful chiffonade of basil. And again, that adds a nice color pop, also some nutrients. And the chiffonade is a really easy, fancy cut.
And it smells good too.
I can't wait to try these.
Oh no, I am so excited. All right, well, we're going to get everything cleaned up here, and then we're gonna bring out our salmon and get these peaches, and we're finally gonna get to taste this food. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with Community Cooking.
Alexa, how do you tell if asparagus is still good?
If it's not moldy or slimy, it's okay to eat.
Enable the new skill from Save the Food on your Amazon Alexa and help fight food waste.
Welcome back to Community Cooking. Today we've been cooking with my friend Jessica Beaudoin, and we just brought the salmon out of the oven. It looks gorgeous. This is a lemon coriander salmon, but we're not done, right?
Correct. We need to make the lemon coriander portion. So we're going to be seasoning this. Before break, we toasted up some of the mustard seeds and coriander seeds on a dry skillet over medium-high heat, just until fragrant. And so now we need to grind them up a little bit.
But we don't have a grinder.
Exactly. And a lot of people don't have a dedicated spice grinder at home. I've got my own coffee grinder. I don't have a separate one for spice grinding. So another way that you can grind spices at home, exactly, using a pan and a baggie, you just go ahead and seal up the spices inside of a little bag, and then just use the end of a saute pan to kind of smash them up. Low-tech way of doing your own grinding at home.
And I'm a caterer, so every day of my life is improvising.
Absolutely.
Like I'm always finding a way around something.
Yep. Forget the spice grinder at home, here's your other option.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you just want to kind of break up the coriander seeds, break up some of the mustard seeds to help release some of the toasted seed flavor that we've got going on already. And then what we'll do is then sprinkle that on top of the salmon, zest up a little bit of lemon, a little salt and pepper, and go ahead and start getting some of that ready.
Oh yeah, that looks nice.
And you know,
and it smells nice too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That aroma as soon as you open up the foil packet is unbeatable. And like we were saying before, like you can do this in the oven like we did today, or this is great for camping, or for a backyard barbecue over the grill.
Tailgating.
Tailgating,
Yeah.
exactly. If you're gonna cook this fish over a higher heat source like a grill or over a campfire, you'll wanna cook it for only about 10 to 12 minutes. You can also switch out the different types of fish. If you've
yeah.
caught some trout lately, you could make a nice trout packet. You could do different vegetables. You'll just want to tailor the cooking time to the thickness of the fillet. For a thicker fillet like salmon, we've got somewhere between 10 to 15 minutes depending on how hot the heat source. For a thinner fillet, shorter cooking time.
Yeah, and this would be great for a potluck too, because you can have it, it's in a package, like it's already pre-made, you can bring it somewhere.
You can make these a couple hours ahead of time, and then when you're ready, when the guests come over, 10 to 12 or 15 minutes before you're going to be having everyone eat, just throw them on the grill.
Nice. And then our beautiful dessert, these really do look really pretty.
Thank you.
So with glazed peaches, Greek yogurt, almonds, blueberries, basil.
Voila.
Beautiful,
That's
simple. And this was cooked really quick too.
Exactly. And like I was saying before, if you have really, really fresh peaches at the peak of summer, you almost don't even need to glaze them. You could just throw them right on the grill, get some of the natural caramelization from the peaches.
I'm always gonna glaze the peaches. It's just nice. Like it's just making it fancy.
It is. Shall we dig in?
Yeah, I'm always starting with dessert.
You know, life's too short, they say.
Right?
Eat dessert first.
I want the perfect bite. I want a little blueberry on there too. There, that's the perfect bite.
I tested this ahead of time.
Yeah?
This is my favorite batch so far. That basil.
The basil goes with the peaches actually really, really well. They complement each other.
They really do. It's a nice flavor profile.
Yeah.
A little sweetness from the blueberries, a little bit of the zesty zing from the Greek yogurt.
Yeah.
It's like peaches and cream in a healthy way.
And you don't, because you have the glaze, you don't need the added sugar with the yogurt. So
Exactly.
yeah, this is delicious, but it's still healthy.
Exactly.
I love that.
Should we tuck into some salmon?
Yes. I'm like, which one? Which one?
Ooh. Let's dig into this one.
Yeah.
Now, for eating, of course, you want to get the lemon and the oregano out of the way, but go ahead and get a bite with some tomatoes, some zucchini, a little bit of corn, summer vegetables.
It's so light too. I like it. It's very fresh.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you wanted to kind of bulk this up for a bigger barbecue, you could make some rice or some potatoes on the side just to add a little bit of starch. But yeah, very refreshing, very easy to make ahead of time, and very versatile.
Oh yeah, I love it. Well, Jessica, thank you so much for coming in today. The food was delicious. Your recipes are amazing. Please try this at home. Thank you from myself, the crew, and Jessica for joining us on another fun episode. And remember, some of the best chefs really are in our own community. We'll see you again here at Community Cooking.
If you'd like a copy of the recipes seen on this show, send us a self-addressed stamped envelope to the Office of Cable and Community Relations. That's 3350 Civic Center Drive, Suite 200, in Torrance, California, 90503. Be sure to note the show number displayed on the screen. And don't forget, you can find all the fresh ingredients used on today's show at the Farmers Market. Visit the one here in Torrance at Wilson Park. That's located at 2200 Crenshaw Boulevard. They're open every Tuesday and Saturday from 8 a.m. until 1 p.m., rain or shine. And if you'd like to be a guest on our show, email us at communitycooking@torranceca.gov and check us out online at youtube.com/TorranceCityCable and like us on Facebook at Community Cooking TV.